All right, let's get started. So, in this video, I labeled it Imagine Trading Without Feeling the Fear of Losing Again. And I wanted to touch on this topic because when we struggle as traders and if we haven't found trading success, it's all based on how we respond. How we react, because there's a difference between reacting and responding, and we'll get into that. How we react to losses and how we perceive them. Okay, so I wanted to break down in this video that if we do not have or give losses a positive role in our trading system, one, we have an incomplete trading system, and with an incomplete trading system, then we'll never be successful. Or two, if we don't give it a positive role, then that means we're going to react to it in a negative way because we're not getting any type of exchange or value out of the money loss. Okay. And we're going to touch into all of this in this video. So there was a quote by Mark Douglas that I like that I want to tell you. 95% of the trading errors you are likely to make will stem from your attitudes about being wrong, losing money, missing out, and leaving money on the table. And this is known as the 4 trading fears. All right. And I wanted to piggyback off this by saying losses can be setbacks, losses can be personal attacks, and losses can be threats to your identity. Or losses can become signals to help you profit, but only if you give them a positive role in your trading system. All right. So there was this infographic I made a while ago, and I just really wanted to bring it back. A lot of us have been conditioned growing up to see losing, as pretty much one set of bricks and then winning as a different set of bricks, like not knowing that the wall of success is comprised of them both, right? So if we grow up and we're in school and we play basketball, football, baseball, there's always a team that wins and there's always a team that loses, and winning comes with glory, right? And then losing comes with shame. But the fact of the matter is we were conditioned growing up to play finite games where trading is an infinite game where losing and winning are the same thing, and they're comprised of success. Like both of them, you need both of them to see success. So understand that every time you try to avoid, excuse my language, every time you try to avoid a loss, you're avoiding success. And this is something that I tell a lot of my traders. And I'm a coach, by the way. So if you're looking for a trading coach, click on the link in the bio. We can schedule a Zoom call and I'll take it from there. All right. But every time that I talk to my traders, I always tell them that every single time that you try to avoid a loss in trading, you're avoiding a win as well. Okay. Because and there's so many different, aspects or angles I can go off of that. The first one is you have a win rate. And in order for you to hit that win rate, you have to have a loss rate. So if your win rate is 70%, excuse me, my eyes messing up. If your win rate is 70%, then that means you have to lose 30% of the time, which goes with what I always say is that losers are nothing more than a door you walk through in order to reach your winners. If you have a 70% win rate, 30% loss rate, and you lose 20% of the time, that's an 80% win rate. That's not your trading expectancy. I know that may favor you, but that's not the expectancy. And if you lose 50% of the time, that's a 50% loss rate. That's not the expectancy, right? So this is a situation where overachieving and underachieving will hurt you, all right? And the second thing is that we have as humans, we're very bad when it comes to perception, right? So how many times have you been in a trade? Because I've experienced this. How many times have you been in a trade where you saw the setup and you thought it was A plus, super clean, right? Super clean. And then you might even over leverage because it's so clean, and then it ends up stopping you out and causing you to tilt. Or how many setups have you seen that look kind of sloppy, a little choppy, and you're like, I'm going to take it because I just got to respect the setup, but I'm a size down. And then that one end up being full TP. That just goes to show that we can't see the future. And two, our perception is pretty bad, all right? Or how we see things or our foresight can be very bad because it's all based on emotion. Because the moment you click the buy or sell button and enter a position, losses and wins are wrapped up into one until price ticks up or down randomly to either your stop loss or your take profit. All right. And we won't know which one it is. So therefore, that's why we got to trade as many times as we can, as long as our execution is flawless and the setup is there and have a high quality. Okay. So this leads me to what I call just enough accumulated knowledge and experience. And I stole this from Oliver Velez. You should check him out. He has great content. Okay. So on this chart, you can see that we have a starting point where everybody starts to trade, right? And we have the your knowledge side of things and then your success side of things. Okay. So as we start learning how to trade, we consume a crazy amount of trading knowledge, right? If it's books, YouTube videos, actual trading experience, back testing, forward testing, tweets, everything, right? We consume as much knowledge as we can, and then we hop on the charts and we try to implement that knowledge, right? And we trade ourselves, gaining experience. So we're learning plus gaining experience. And as we're doing this, we are losing, right? We're paying tuition, we're losing. And this really affects what we're doing that is positive, right? Learning and gaining experience. It makes it seem like we're not doing something right. And because we're losing, this can actually trick us into thinking that this is kind of like a false positive, right? Like we believe that we're doing something right, but clearly we're not getting the instant results, which is unrealistic. And so therefore we may not continue to do the positive thing, or we might quit altogether, right? But the fact of the matter is we have to, continue to learn and gain experience until we hit the point of just enough accumulated knowledge and experience, which is this line right here, this dotted line, until we see a return on our investment, right? So the problem here, there's two problems. The first problem that you're going to encounter is trading without journaling or implementing improvements. You will pay tuition forever with no return. So the solution is you have to journal. You got to practice awareness, and you have to implement those improvements. Journal, practice awareness, implement improvements. Journal, practice awareness, and implement improvements. And continue to do that as you're compounding, right, with your experience and the knowledge until you reach this point, right? And during that time, you're going to continue to pay tuition. Now, regarding paying tuition as you're learning, there's another problem, right? Nobody knows where the point of accumulated knowledge is. I know there's a point right here, but there's no way for us to know because everybody is different. Say, for example, we are both traders, and we are. And me personally, I am way more impatient and way more greedy than you are, which I probably am. It will take me a lot more work to get to have a change of character or development in order to become the person I need to be to become a successful trader, or to see trading success. You see what I'm saying? Versus you may not need to do as much work as I do if you're less greedy and less impatient than I am. So therefore, your point of just enough accumulated knowledge and experience before you see a return on investment and trading success may be closer than mine. But even then, we don't know where that point is. All right. So the solution here is staying power and resilience. You got to stay in the game long enough to hit. So that leads me, to sum all this up, nobody knows where their point of accumulated knowledge is. So it leads me to the saying, hard work pays off. Nobody tells you when. Hard work pays off. Nobody tells you when. Hard work pays off. Nobody tells you when, which leads me to the next meme. Keep gambling. Do not be this guy. You got to have staying power. You got to keep going, because we are playing the game of law of large numbers here, where basically the game of law of large numbers states that as more endeavors and more attempts that you take to get to your theoretical point or your goal, the more attempts, the more endeavors, the more tries, you will eventually land there. All that saying is, don't quit. You'll get there. Okay. Especially if you have a problem. Only if you have a profitable system. Okay. So I just want to start out with that. I think that I could close the video right there with that value, but we're just getting started. So let's get into the second page. And there's a question that I would like to ask you guys. Where would you be if you were able to handle your losses like a successful trader? Where would you be? And I want you to put the answers in the comment section. And I appreciate that if you did. All right. So before we get started, if you like this document, it's going to be free for you to download. The link is going to be in the description. And if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, I do provide that as well. The link will be in the description below as well. Okay, so let's get started. Number one, losses with no role equals losing for no reason. Losses trigger tilt, revenge trading, and over leveraging only because you treat them like threats. You think a loss pushes you farther away from your trading goals. You think a loss proves you're not good enough. You think a loss exposes your flaws as a trader and you're less than as a person. You perceive every loss as danger, and that's why you go on tilt. And that's the problem, because as long as we see losses as threats and enemies, of course, we're going to get triggered into fight or flight, where we're either going to fight the market until there's nothing left and we blow the account and we lose the battle, or we're going to be so fearful and take flight to a point where when we go into our next session, we may be scared to click the buy or sell button and enter a position once our system presents itself. All right. And that defies the whole game of the law of large numbers. All right. So, it's not the fact that you lost money, it's the fact that you didn't get any value back in return. And I want you to write that down if you can. All right. So whenever you walk down the street and say, for example, money slipped out your pocket and you didn't realize it till you got back home, you're going to be hurt about that. You lost money because you didn't get anything back. But if you went to the store and, you bought something, there was an exchange there. So you technically did lose money because there was a deduction out of your bank account, but you got some type of value in it from return. I mean, some type of value in it in return, right? So that's what our losses need to be. That's how we need to assign a positive role with our losses so we can get something back. Because if we can get some type of value back, and you can ask yourself, what type of loss or what will I have to receive in order for this loss to be worth it? You won't go on tilt. Okay. So, number 2, you can't ignore losses and expect success. You cannot ignore losses and expect success. You can't ignore losses and expect success. Ignoring losses is ignoring winning. They are the same thing, the wall of success. Okay? Indifference is just emotional avoidance wearing a mask. Pretending losses don't matter guarantees they hit you even harder. A loss you don't understand becomes a threat. A loss you don't process becomes a wound. Okay, so even being on the fence, playing the fence and being indifferent about losses and just being like, oh, they don't matter, that's not good enough. Because eventually you're going to wake up on the wrong side of the bed one day. You're going to be emotional, because we're human, bro. We're going to wake up in different states of minds and different state of emotion. So we go into the trading day, and just the fact that you're indifferent and you don't have a solid position and a solid role for your losses, it can tilt on the wrong side of the fence. Okay. So make sure that you have to be definite and give it a role. And I'm going to show you how you can make give losses a role later on in the video. So avoiding losses keeps you in the failing trader loop because you never give them a function in your growth. Okay. And I just explained why. So, number 3, types of losses. There's going to be 3 types of losses here that I found. If there's any types of losses that you found, put it in the comment section below. I'm always open to learning, okay? But these are the 3 that I found. Most traders lump every loss together, but not all losses mean the same thing. And understand that when you ignore losses, you're going to lump them together by default because you haven't dissected them. You haven't learned them. You haven't, looked at their personality traits like they're human, right? So the 3 types of losses are probability-based losses, trader error losses, and developing system losses. All right. So probability-based losses. You followed your plan, executed cleanly, and still lost because your edge requires losses to function. Losses are nothing more than a door you have to go through in order to reach your winning expectancy. You have a winning bucket, which is your loss rate, if it's 70%, 50%, whatever it is, and then you have a losing bucket that you have to fill up because you just can't throw those losses out the window. You can't pretend that they don't exist. They have to be occupied, okay? Like there's a space that has to be occupied in your system's expectancy, and those losses are filling its role. It's showing you that your system is working because for you to reach that 70% win rate, you have to lose 30%, right? For you to reach 50%, you have to lose 50%. So everything is working, all right? Now, trader error losses. This is something I really want to touch on, okay? You caused through rule breaking, emotional decisions, poor execution, or technical error. Now, And when I say technical error, I mean maybe you were trading minis instead of micros by accident. You accidentally press buy instead of sell. You accidentally press sell instead of buy. Some type of platform mistake that you made. Okay. Now, when it comes to trader error, no matter if it was emotional decisions, poor execution, rule breaking, or technical error, the main thing that you can do is to forgive yourself. Okay. Probability based loss, you're like, okay, this is just a statistical event, and it's just fulfilling my loss bucket. It's just a door I got to walk through in order to get to my win rate. It means my system is working. Okay. Now, trader error is when you fuck up. And if you fuck up, the best action that you could take after that is give yourself some grace and forgive yourself. Okay. You don't need to kick a dead horse, and you don't need to reinforce that you're a piece of shit. Like, you don't need that. All right. And it's not something that you do every single day. So when you mess up, your intentions going into the market were good. That counts for something. Come from a place of understanding and see yourself as a friend. If I call you and I'm like, yo, I just had a bad trading session. I went on tilt. I broke every rule. I made every emotional decision. I executed poorly. I'm over here fucking up on my platform. You're not going to, as if you're a good friend, you're not going to sit here and beat me up. You're going to be there for me. So you need to show up for yourself the way you show up for your friends, if not more. So even for me, when I have a red day, I have a red day ritual where I try to turn the energy around, where I feel horrible. And the way I turn the energy around is by blessing others and looking out for myself. Meaning, I remember the last time I had a crazy red day. I think I lost like $2,000 or something like that day. And I had my maid service coming in that same day. I gave them a crazy tip. It was so big, they called me. They was like, I think you gave me too much money. You transferred too much. I'm like, no, I had a shitty day. I had a bad trading day, and I just wanted to make sure you had a good day. And that turned the energy around. Later on that day, I bought myself something nice to eat. So, if you have a horrible day, don't kick a dead horse. Give yourself some grace. Go do something nice for other people, right? Like, get your girl some flowers. Give the bartender a tip. Give the waiter a nice tip above average, right? And treat yourself nice. Treat it like a self-care day. Turn the energy around. And I promise you, you won't look at red days in such a negative way, right? You might actually wait for it. You actually might be pressed for a red day so you can do those things. So that's trader error. Developing system losses. You're refining your strategy, sharpening your edge, and learning what actually works. This comes from more novice traders that's trying to figure out what edge they want to use, and also probably intermediate traders that want to take their edge to the next level, okay, within bounds. So, with this stage or this type of loss, you might just want to, back test or forward test. And I always recommend back testing 1,000 times. And the reason why a lot of people think that that's extreme, but we have extreme problems, so it requires extreme solutions. You know what I'm saying? So back test 1,000 times so you can see exactly how your system work in several market conditions over several presidency terms. And then over 1,000 trades, you start to see your flaws as an executor, as a trader. Like, okay, I'm interrupting my trades too much. Okay, I'm getting nervous whenever this type of price action happens. Whenever these events happen, whenever these occurrences happen, it's starting to trigger me. So I need to break down why it's triggering me, how I perceive it, and how I should perceive it, and then make it a daily goal. So therefore, I can reinforce this new belief or perception. Okay. Each type carries a different message, but struggling traders treat them all like personal failure. You got to understand that, say, for example, if you had a probability-based loss, which is a natural loss that is required for your edge to function properly, so you can go through that door and reach your winners. This is positive. This is a good thing. You want a probability-based loss, but if you sit here and put everything and treat them all the same, you might have executed everything the same, but you may think because you lost, it was a trader error. So now you're not doing what you are supposed to do that will give you the positive expectancy and reach you to your goal as to why you started trading in the first place. And then that's going to break that cycle of getting you to your goal because you thought you messed up based on your P&L because you lost naturally or the normal loss you needed to incur to get pushed forward, right? Because we don't know what we don't know. And that's why you need to learn losses like the back of your hand, okay? So you can know the difference. Like, it would really suck if you had a good habit of executing properly, but because you don't know how many trades you're going to lose in a row in a 50 trade sample, and because you don't know what to expect out of your losses, you're going to ruin a profitable habit that will ruin your entire trading career, because you're seeing every single loss as a trading error. All right. When you know what kind of loss you took, it stops feeling like an attack and starts becoming guidance. So now you know how to navigate each one of these types of losses requires different actions from you. Probability-based loss requires no action, if anything, gratitude and appreciation. Trader error losses requires you to show yourself some grace, self-forgiveness, to turn your energy around, and to do the complete opposite of what you've been doing if you've been beating yourself up. And developing system losses requires diligence. Okay, it requires intention, it requires practice, and it requires you to be risk off until you figure things out. All right. So, number 4, your self-worth is priced in your P&L. Your self-worth is priced in your P&L. Your self-worth is priced in your P&L. Most traders tie losses to identity. If I lose, I'm failing. If I lose, I'm trash. If I lose, I'm losing everything I've ever gained. If I lose, it reminds me of every single time I've ever lost. God got favorites, and I am not one of them, clearly. That's mine. I need to stop saying that. But it gets to that point sometimes. So your entire life and self-worth swings with every candle, every tick, for real, right? One loss becomes self-judgment instead of what it actually is, and that's a statistical event. That's a statistical event, right? That is your system doing exactly what it needs to do because you gave that loss a positive role in your system that is going to benefit you one way or another. So therefore, it's no longer a threat, no longer an enemy. So there's no requirement for you to go on tilt, revenge trade, or become emotionally volatile. That will ruin your consistency, because once you ruin your consistency, you no longer can be a successful trader, because a consistent trader is no different and it is synonymous with a successful trader that can only be killed through emotional volatility that is caused by how you perceive and what you believe about losses. All right. So tilt is a functional panic attack. You're pulling the fire alarm when there is nothing on fire. That goes back to what I was saying about probability-based losses. You're over here going on tilt, and that was the natural positive loss that is supposed to happen in order to push your account forward so you can reach whatever goal as to why you started trading. Number 5, losses aren't taking you backwards, but how you perceive them are. How you perceive losses are taking you backwards, not the loss itself, as long as you have a profitable system. A loss is neutral until you get in order for you to know you have a profitable system, you need to backtest one system, master one kick, flawlessly executed over 1,000 trades. And if that's too much for you, then you don't want it bad enough. A loss is neutral until you give it meaning. A loss means nothing until you give it meaning. When you see it as a setback, your nervous system reacts like you lost progress. When you see it as a threat or danger, you'll go on tilt. This is why you overtrade. This is why you chase. This is why you sabotage. Your downfall isn't the loss itself. It's the meaning you attach to it. That's the whole point of this video, so you can attach a positive meaning and give it a positive role and learn losses like the back of your hand, so they're no longer enemies and they're allies that's going to benefit you overall. Okay? In this video, we're trying to give it we have given it a positive meaning, and I'm going to show you how later on in the video. So, number 6, losses must have a positive role. A positive role doesn't mean enjoy losing. I'm not telling you to be happy after every loss. Like, that's just going to be unrealistic. Sometimes it might sting, sometimes it might bother you. And I'm actually to a point where sometimes I'm actually appreciative of the losses that I take, because every loss that I take is in exchange for market feedback, which will increase the probabilities of my next trade working out. And that's just how I use losses. All right. And there's 3 other ways that you can view losses that we're about to talk about. It means the loss plays a positive part inside your plan to help your positive expectancy. Okay. A loss can confirm your risk, validate your setup, shows you your system is working, expose an edge adjustment, or refinement. There are 3 ways to view losses that will make you succeed. The first one is leveraging feedback, leveraging market feedback. Number 2, 1 step back, 2 step forward game to understand what type of game you're playing. And number three, fill your loss expectancy to fill your win expectancy. We touched on that. So number one, leveraging feedback. This is what I use my stop losses for and my losses for. So every single time that I take a loss, it's an exchange of value. The market takes my money and the market gives me feedback. And that's just how my technical system is, where I know certain points, if this price breaks, I know that my bias is wrong and I need to wait for my setup to the opposite direction to form, and then I take the opposite direction, and that works for me. It's something that I've back tested several times. So don't go in the market and place a random arbitrary stop loss, and once it gets stopped out, oh, Lauren said play the opposite. No, don't do it. I tested that. That works for me. If you want that, then you need to back test 1,000 times and learn how to implement it. So number two, one step back, two steps forward game. There is no such thing as 100% win rate. So therefore, we will lose. And that's completely fine as long as we win, or as long as our winners are bigger than our losers, or we win more than we lose, depending on your win rate, loss rate, and our multiple average. Okay, that's your system, your positive expectancy. Okay, so please understand that you have to take a step back. That's the door you have to walk through in order to reach your winning trades that's going to push your account forward. The key to this is you have to be emotionally consistent enough and neutral enough that you're only taking one step back when you take the loss. You're taking 3 steps back, but your winning expectancy is only 2 steps forward. You're still down 1 step, minus 1 step. And that can only be caused by emotional volatility that is caused by how you perceive losses, because you've been either ignoring them, neglecting them, because they don't have a role in your incomplete trading system. Number three, fill your loss expectancy to fill your win expectancy. This is what I'm talking about with the win rate bucket and the loss rate bucket. In order for your win rate bucket to fill, like if you have 70%, you got to fill that bucket, but 30% have to be losers to fill the loss rate bucket for your winning bucket to be filled, which means you need both wins and losses. That's why they're the same thing, right? I hope you're tracking what I'm saying here. And one thing in common that all three of these views have is that looking out for your future trades, that you're looking out for your future trades and your future self. So if you think about it, when I leverage market feedback, I'm not thinking about the trade that I'm in right now. I'm thinking about the next trade and how to increase my probabilities. When I think about 1 step back, 2 steps forward, I'm not thinking about the 1 step back in the current trade now. I'm thinking about making sure that I stay 1 step back, so when my winning trades come, they can take 2 steps forward, pushing my account forward by 1 step. When I think about fulfilling my loss expectancy, I know that if I fill my loss bucket up, then every other trade is going to go to my winning bucket. Okay, so I'm not necessarily worried about what's going on today. I'm thinking about the future, because I think that a lot of us as traders, because we hold short-term positions, and we're day traders, we hold short-term positions, we think that this is a short-term game, where trading is really a 401k. Like it's a game of compounding base hits, right? Not risking it all, making sure our risk makes us comfortable and it doesn't change our life. Why a lot of us do the opposite when we take one trade and we want it to change our life. And that goes against the law of large numbers, because the way that casinos, and we need to be casino owners and not traders, and I do have a video on that, and I'll put it in the link. I'll put it in the link. I'll put it in the description below. I'll put the link in the description below. But we need to be casino owners, not traders. Meaning you need to study how casinos make a lot of money. If you think about it, why do billionaires and multimillionaires invest millions of dollars into something based on probabilities, where they are not monitoring every hand played? They are not monitoring every ball rolled or dice rolled. They're not monitoring any of it. So why do they trust millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, into that? Is because math doesn't lie. So therefore, you need to attach your emotions, detach your emotions from random trading outcomes, and attach your emotions to the trading math. And I don't know which video it was. Watch all my videos, but I explained trading math in one of them. But we need to play the game of law of large numbers, which means table limits is risk management, right? And then we play as many hands as possible so our edge emerges and realizes its potential and converge as close as it can to meet our positive expectancy that will compound over time and make us financially free or reach whatever goal as to why you started trading in the first place. Okay? So, once a loss has purpose, it stops being a threat. When losses serve your plan, they stop hurting your identity. Number 7, a trading plan without a positive role for loss is an incomplete plan. And if you have an incomplete trading plan, you will not be successful. Because most traders craft plans around entries, exits, and targets, but leave losses out like they aren't a part of the game, that's complete delusion. Losses will come, and without a predefined function for those losses, they will catch you off guard and create internal chaos. All right. And the thing about trading is you do not want to get caught off guard when you have something of value, i.e., money on the line. You want to be able to have a plan for every scenario, for every event, for every outcome that's going to come. You need to be prepared. A lot of you guys are not bad traders. You're just unprepared traders, ill-prepared traders. So that leads to one strong solution that I teach to a lot of my traders is if X happens, then I will do Y. So, for example, if price hits my stop loss, the market is letting me know to change my bias because X, Y, and Z, whatever the case may be. If price hits my stop loss, I stop trading, so my future wins only have to climb out of a small hole and then push my account forward. I reduce the damage now, so when the wins come, they don't have to worry about much. Fill it a little bit, and whatever the net profit is going to push my account forward. Okay? A plan that doesn't integrate losses is an incomplete plan, guaranteed to trigger emotional breakdown, guaranteeing failure. Because if you are not emotionally consistent, if you are not consistent in general, then you will never be a successful trader, because there's no difference between a successful trader and consistent trader as long as you have a profitable trading edge. Okay, and the only thing that can ruin consistency is emotional volatility based on how we perceive losses. Number 8, your P&L is a broken GPS. You're relying on the wrong indicator. Your P&L lies. Your money lies. Your trade by trade outcomes are random. So stop attaching your emotions to something that is designed to cause emotional volatility, because it's not consistent. And the only thing that can be consistent, and the only thing that you should be attaching your emotions and your values to, is yourself. I have a saying that I read every morning on part of my template whenever I'm journaling during my trading session, and it is, I will not seek any type of safety outside of myself. I won't seek any type of safety or security outside of myself. I won't seek it in money. I won't seek it in cars, clothes, hoes, none of that. Okay? All of my security and safety comes from me, myself, my belief and my conviction in myself, based on self-mastery and the actions and executions that I do every day, based on the self-trust that I've compounded by performing and doing what I need to do every single day, even in the heat of the moment and when things get tough. So they give, when it comes to these indicators, these, false indicators, wrong indicators, they give positives and false negatives. You think you're improving when you're not. You think you're failing when you're progressing. That goes back to the point of just enough accumulated knowledge and experience and staying in the game long enough and continue to keep growing, and don't let you paying tuition and losing trades stop you from growing or make you think that you're doing something wrong, and keep going until you hit that point of accumulated knowledge and experience, until you start to see a return on your investment. You need to create an indicator based on flawless execution and consistency. What I have done before that really helped me out is I leverage my competitiveness. If you're a competitive person just like me, I would try to go on a streak to see if I can check off all the boxes to my system to make sure that I execute it properly. Like I'll do okay, let me see if I can do 10 days in a row. And then I might fall short. I might land on 5 and be like, damn, okay, let me see if I can try it again. That didn't feel good. And then next thing you know, I landed at 8 and I'm like, all right, one more time. And then another 10 days go by and I hit it. Let me see if I can do 20 days. And then I might fall short at 15. All right, let me try one more time. And at that point, you're building momentum. You're making it interesting and fun, because now you become a competitive. Or if you have a trader friend or join my trading community, link in the description, then we will all keep up with you, because we're active. We talk all the time. All right. So the GPS, the best GPS, is flawless execution consistently, which is your role for your system's expectancy to realize its potential. The only thing that your system needs from you is consistent execution, and to execute properly. And to trade, execute properly, as many times as you possibly can without compromising your, I guess, mental energy, which will cause emotional volatility that will cause you to be inconsistent, therefore unsuccessful. So, number 9, losses are data. A loss is nothing more than information. Stop treating it like an injury. This is why you flinch after losses, but not after wins. When you get data from losses, losing becomes productive. When you get feedback from losses, losing becomes profitable. When you extract meaning from losses, losing will fulfill you. Can you imagine that? You will not lose because even losing is winning. When you win, okay, you made money, you use money to make money. And when you lose, you use money to receive experience and knowledge so you can apply to, your future trades in order to make money than the current winning trade with the current amount of knowledge that you have right now. So you mean to tell me if I win, I either win or win bigger. But losing is the win bigger side. Crazy. Losses only damage you when they're ignored and perceived wrong. All right. So how you perceive loss by either ignoring it, neglecting it, and not giving it a positive role. And even if you play the fence and you're just indifferent about losses, it's a slippery slope because it will tilt you over. Okay. Number 10, the failing trader loop comes from how you view losses. Let's break the loop down. Loss, right? You take a trading loss, then it threatens your self-worth and your future. Then you receive nothing from the loss. So now that triggers you and you try to make it back because since you didn't have an exchange or you didn't get any value from that loss, now you want to make back the money, right? Because now you just lost for no reason, which will normally lead to more loss and then going on tilt, which will lead to more loss until you eventually blow up and forced to stop, right? And then at that point, once you're forced to stop and you can't go anymore, then that will reinforce the belief that you're a struggling trader. And that loop will continue to go until you make the conscious decision that you are a successful trader by embodying the habits of a successful trader. And at that point, things will change as long as you maintain those habits consistently and long enough for things to, well, I wouldn't even say for things to show you that you are who you say you are, because at the moment that you said that you're a successful trader, that should be more than enough, and you shouldn't need any type of materialistic thing to prove to you that you are a successful trader. So all of this is is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Every loss pushes you deeper into the version of you that you believe can't handle the pressure. When you redefine losses, give it a positive role, and see the value that it gives you outside of money, then the loop collapses instantly. P.S. Knowledge is more valuable than money. Money is the only valuable thing in the world to a failed trader. So if money is all you can see and money is the main factor as to why you make decisions in the first place instead of it actually being a good decision, right? And the odds and probabilities being in your favor, you got a long way to go. Successful traders, they value knowledge, experience, execution, and maintaining a high standard of themselves over money, and then the money is a byproduct. Please understand that you got to have high standards going into the market. You need to trade on your terms. Do not allow the fact that you're just in the market trying to scrape pennies and a couple of dollars. Don't look at yourself like that. Is either the market is going to give you what you want, which is a high quality setup, or you don't trade because you're paying commissions and fees. And last time I checked, whenever you go out to eat and you give a server a tip, it was based on how well they served you. So maintain a high standard for yourself in how you execute and the quality of trades that you pick. All right. Because your sample size of trades is going to bring you closest to your, expected value. So make sure that you choose trades that are very high quality. Let me see if it's too dark in here. 1 second. No, I think I'm good. I'll put this over here. So number 11, loss integration equals emotional consistency. When losses become part of the plan, when losses have a purpose, when losses become signals instead of threats, your nervous system finally relaxes. So you don't go on tilt. Your execution becomes pure, right? Because you have nothing to lose. Your emotional state becomes stable enabling consistency, which is no different from successful trading. You either profit from positive P&L, profit from market feedback, profit from system refinement, profit from capping losses so future winners can fill the hole and push your account forward. You're winning and winning and winning no matter what the outcome is. All right. So don't allow P&L to make you feel like you lost. It's not accurate. Okay. So if you want to win in trading, stop trying to win and become the version of yourself that can't be defeated. If you want to win in trading, stop trying to win and become the version of yourself that can't be defeated. If you want to win in trading, stop trying to win and become the version of yourself that can't be defeated, right? And what I mean by that is by controlling how you see, perceive, and believe losses, because that's going to be the whole game changer right there, right? You can look at it the way that I'm showing you how to look at these things. So therefore, winning is just going to be a reinforced cycle for you forever. So your perception changes everything. And based on how you perceive things, if you see losing as winning and you give it a positive role and you get feedback from it, or you get something back in exchange for the loss, is no longer a loss. Therefore, you will win forever. So therefore, how you perceive things, you won't panic and you'll be in confidence. So therefore, that's a version of yourself that can't be defeated when the entire game of trading is a mirror. So once you got that perception, belief, and how you see things under wraps, the market is going to reflect that, and it's just going to be a reflection back and forth, a loop of winning, an eternal loop of winning. Okay. So number 12, the trader who uses losses always wins. The trader who uses losses always wins. The trader who uses their losses always wins. A trader who extracts value from losses wins no matter what the P&L says. Is a trader who wins no matter what the trading outcome is. When losses upgrade your system, every outcome works in your favor. A trader who understands losses trades effortlessly because nothing is a threat anymore. Boom. You got the whole thing. Now, I do have one more page because none of this is worth anything if you are not using it and you don't have actionable steps. So I did you a solid and made you a document that is completely free that you can download right now. And I want you to click on the link right now to download this so you can implement this every single day. So therefore, you can combat tilt, fear, and develop emotional consistency so you can be successful. All right. So number 1. Losses with no role equals losing for no reason. For that, after each loss, immediately write down one piece of value it gave you before taking another trade. Okay, so make sure it's an exchange and not you just losing for no reason. Number 2, you can't ignore losses and expect success. Review every loss, mark it as reviewed and studied in your journal before continuing the next session. Number 3, types of losses. Identify which type of losses you took: probability, trader error, or developing system. Number 4, your self-worth is priced in your P&L. Write down the mechanical reason the trade lost only if this is a developing system, right? And if you have a developed system, at this point, I've already told you how to disassociate your self-worth from trading outcomes and why you should do so. Number 5, losses aren't taking you backwards, but how you perceive them are. Convert the loss into a neutral statement. For example, price hit my stop according to plan. Number 6, losses must have a positive role. Assign each loss one role: a risk check, set of validation or invalidation, set of confirmation, or refinement. All right. Then number 7, a trading plan without a positive role for loss is an incomplete plan that will never lead you to success. Prepare for the loss in your plan, starting with, if a loss hits, then I will do this. If X happens, then I will do Y. Number 8, your P&L is a broken GPS. Score every trade from 1 to 10 on execution quality over 20 trades, then double down and trim the fat. Reinforce the strengths and make your weaknesses a daily trading goal to address them, and then go from there. And, not results too. So make sure all of this is based on execution. Number 9, losses are data. Log the single most useful piece of data the loss revealed in one sentence. Make it simple, consistent. Number 10, the failing trader loop comes from how you view losses. After each loss, write down the value you gained that wasn't money. Number 11, loss roll equals emotional consistency. Before entering any trade, define what value or benefit the loss will give you if it comes. All right. And last but not least, the trader who uses losses always win. End each session by listing how well you perceived and used the loss to benefit you. I hope this video helped, and I'll see you on the next one.